Ciao and welcome back to another episode of No Translation Necessary, a podcast series which aims to showcase the talent of musicians who sing in the native language. We are still in Italy, and I am sure that over the past few days I've eaten triple my body weight in pasta. We've said goodbye to Milano and are currently in one of the most beautiful cities on the planet, Rome. And for those wondering, yes, I've already been to the Colosseum and reenacted Russell Crowe's speech from The Gladiator. It was a must, but enough about that. Please welcome one of my favourite artists, Andrea Ra. Ciao e benvenuto Andrea, come stai?
Ciao, bene, grazie.
Hi, fine, thanks.
So, let's begin with the age-old question, the one that everybody always asks. How did you begin your career in music?
Molto, insomma, molto in là. Il dato anagrafico quindi è impietoso perché, insomma, alla fine io ho iniziato nel 1987, primo concerto. E poi diciamo che ho registrato il mio primo disco nel 1990 con un gruppo che si chiamava Insania. Poi ho fondato un gruppo che si chiama Atto Terzo e abbiamo fatto 4 album fino al 1998. Nel frattempo ho iniziato a lavorare anche come bassista, quindi come session man, e ho iniziato con i Giulio Dorme che nel 97 avevano partecipato a Sanremo. Poi ho iniziato la mia carriera solista nel 2000.
Very late. The personal age data is merciless. Then, since I started in 1987, first concert. Then I recorded my first album in 1990 with a band called Insania. Then I made a group called Atto Terzo. I made 4 albums until 1998. In the meantime, I began to work as a bassist, a session man, and I started with Giulio Dorme, that in 1997 went to the Sanremo Festival, and then I began my career as a solo artist in 1998. And I recorded my first album in 2002 with Mescal, the label of Ermal Mata now. At the time, there were Blue Vertigo, After Hours, these kind of alternative groups. Modena City Ramblers, I don't know if you know them. Then, simultaneously, I started to do my own things, making concerts, playing the bass for others. I began my collaboration with many artists. I played with Irati della Sabina, with Piota, with Daniel Goff, with Gazebo, so a bunch of things here and there. So I always alternated to 2 activities, some work in the studio, lives, and my own concerts. Then I made another album, Le Bighe Sono Pronte, produced by Radio Rock in Rome. That's a live recording of a concert, alive with no interruptions. Represso in Trio, in which there were some new tracks. And then I made an album called Nessun Riferimento. And then I began to play with other artists, such as Frank Nemola, who played with Vasco Rossi, with Brusco, and I recorded albums and other groups like La Batteria, a little more alternative, weird. I played with Alberto Camarini, and most of all with Fabrizio Moro, who I work with from 2005. I recorded several things with him and I went on tour with him. In the meantime, I did another project with Emiliano Rubi, the producer of Piota. We formed a band called Musica per Organi Caldi, that takes inspiration from Bukowski. In 2016 we made an EP, but that is a project that has been left open. It stays there and we'll see if we take it back. Then I recorded some of my new singles like Ogni Volta, Novembre, and now I'm making new songs for a new album. Well, in short.
Nel 2011 Nessun Riferimento, che è un psycho concept album.
2011, Nessun Riferimento is a psycho concept album. It talks about a nightmare, a night. The first track is called Mezzanotte, and the last one, L'Essai. They are all musical, inframesi, that tell the protagonist's nightmare. It's a little weird. In 2017, I won the Best Italian Bassist Prize at May. It's a thing I didn't expect. It was the year that I didn't play.
What or who inspired you to make music?
Vabbè, è una domanda difficile, insomma. io penso sia più un'esigenza naturale. Io penso che l'arte, in generale l'arte, se poi vogliamo chiamare arte questo, insomma, comunque sia un'esigenza...
It's a difficult question. I think it's more of a natural need. I think art, if we want to call this art, but art in general is basically an instinct. It isn't a process meditated by reason.
In questo sono più per Platone che per Aristotele, no? Per me Platone è più... Cioè, nel senso, Aristotele diceva l'arte è imitazione. Secondo me l'arte non è imitazione, l'arte è invento.
In this sense, I'm more Plato than Aristotle. To me, Plato is more... Like Aristotle said, art is imitation. But to me, art is not imitation. Art is inventio. Like if something exists, maybe you can catch it. But basically, I think that it's a need that springs from something deep, without the which you'd feel worse than you do. I'm not saying that you feel good if you do it, but maybe you'd feel worse if you wouldn't do it.
Sì, sì, infatti Pindaro pure lo diceva, la differenza tra poeta e poetastro, sai qual è? Che lui diceva il poetastro è colui che sa per studio, invece che per lui il poeta è colui che sa per natura, no? Mi ricordo, diceva questa cosa qua. Infatti il poetastro leva il suo gracchio di nane contro il divino uccello di Zeus, rispetto parlando. Vabbè, ma questo insomma...
Yes, yes. Also, Pindaro said it. Do you know the difference between a poet and a bad poet? The bad poet is the one who knows because he studied, while the poet is the one who knows by nature. I remember he said this. In fact, il poetastro leva il suo gracchio inane contro il divino uccello di Zeus. Respectfully speaking, anyway, Pindaro teaches. Then obviously, in music there are a lot of references to the music I listened. Because to me, you do listen to things and you store them, and then you create your own background. But this doesn't mean to copy because it would be wrong, but it's what you would like, and somehow. Do you know the saying? Tell me who you go with, and I'll tell you who you are. So in music, it's tell me what you listen to, and I'll tell you who you are. I listen to everything because you can be inspired, also by something different from you. This is important. For instance, I listen to a lot of classical music, a lot of jazz, which I don't play, but I like it because I understand that there's something there. So sometimes I need to listen to different things to make others. I don't have to listen to rock to play rock, you know? Sometimes I listen to Wagner, and Wagner is way more rock than After Hours. This is unquestionable. Rossini too.
E poi c'è da dire questo per quanto riguarda la musica, per quanto riguarda i testi invece è tutto un altro discorso. Lì c'è anche un discorso di vita, secondo me, che di osservazione, non so più un metodo. Fondamentalmente, secondo me, le esperienze della vita...
This is for what concerns music. For the lyrics, it's a completely different thing. For the lyrics, it's a thing about life and observing. Basically, you take your experiences on life into your lyrics, inevitably. It's a different process. I distinguish a lot the music from the lyrics because melody and harmony are a language. Lyrics are another language. There's two different things. Maybe you can say the same thing, but you get there in different ways. It's like you have to get to a point, and you get there in different ways, by different streets. With music, you get there in a way, because you can move more with music sometimes. Think about the soundtracks, for instance. They give you that background music that moves you more than 1,000 words, and vice versa, the right word can. To me, it's an X. Definitely an alchemy that must be created. It's music anyway, otherwise it would only be poetry and literature, so you have to be careful. In Italy, they always think only about the lyrics. Just the lyrics. Well, we need to think about the music. Because, for instance, when you listen to foreign music, you basically listen just to the music almost all the times, because you don't understand the lyrics. While in Italy, we listen just to the lyrics. This is a problem.
You say, you can be inspired by anything. Are there any artists in particular that inspire you?
Qualche artista che mi ha ispirato? Io dico sempre 3P. 3P. Police, The Police, Pink Floyd e Primus. Tutte le P. E non a caso 3 bassisti cantanti. 3 bassisti cantanti. Forse perché il basso e in qualche modo determina insieme alla batteria la ritmica. No?
I always say the 3 Ps: The Police, Pink Floyd, and Primus. The 3 Ps. Not a case 3 bassist singers, maybe, because bass somehow determines the rhythmic together with the drums. I always found it fascinating to play the bass and sing because it's like you do 2 different things like this. You have to do one thing with a hand and another with the other one. Like driving this way. Like they're different things. It's like you're doing backwards. I've always been fascinated. When you close your eyes, maybe you're not able to play. You listen to the music and you hear that melody goes on a way and the bass rhythmically goes another way. But they are good together, so you can basically create everything with these 2 things. In fact, most of my songs come out with the bass. I also write with the guitar, but with the bass that's already arranged.
Do you know Primus?
No.
No, è American, sono di San Francisco. Il bassista è Les Claypool, is considered.
Their bassist, Les Claypool, is considered the best in the world. I also listen to a lot of music from different kinds. For instance, Diego Pastorius, see? Another one with the P, has been probably the best bassist. Then lately, I always listen to new music. I don't get stuck to the past. I listen to a lot of things. I also listen to what I don't like because I want to understand.
Poi vabbè, dipende pure dal momento della mia vita, perché per esempio quando avevo i miei 18 anni mi è piaciuto molto il grunge.
Okay, then it also depends on what moment is in my life, because for instance, when I was 18, I liked grunge a lot and all the Seattle scene, all the 90s scene, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Alice in Chains. I also like Red Hot Chili Peppers very much. In the end, I actually listen to everything. My son listens to metal, so I discovered a lot of different groups. It's an incessant research. In my opinion, one should never stop, but listen and look for. The problem is when you stop looking for, basically.
So out of all the songs that you've written, like your own songs, what is your favourite to play?
Ma una che mi piace Ovunque Tu.
One that I like is Ovunque Tu, because it's a song that was born with the bass. I'll make you listen to it.
Così fai l'intervista col basso sotto, fighissimo. Ora vediamo se ci riesco ancora. Allora, questa canzone è nata.
So you make the interview with the bass in the background. So that song you heard, Ovunque Tu, I wrote it myself, but I recorded it by chance, and then a song came out. I didn't think of using it for a song. It was born so quickly. When things happen so fast, you should take it into account.
Da tenere in. Però aspetta, sono scordato.
Wait, I'm out of key.
Immerso nella nebbia, senza uscirne mai, come richiuso in una grotta, vedo ombre volteggiare fuori ovunque tu. Ovunque Questa canzone parla del mito della caverna di Platone.
A little bit, just to play it. This song also talks about the myth of Plato's cavern. Perso immerse nella, nebbia senza uscirme, mai come rinchiuso, in un grotta vedo ombre voltiggiare ovunque tu. So then it's related to a research in the end. This was part of a concept album on a pawn. It talks about chessboards, and how the pawn wants to try and escape from the chessboard. That's the metaphor for the world and the rules to respect. The album is called Scacamato because, well, I didn't know if you're interested in these things.
So speaking of your songs, I've got a few fan questions that
Okay.
people sent in, but I'll get to the other ones later. But I'm gonna ask, it's fine, the ones that every single person has asked. When or if you are going to release new music?
Ah, beh, presto perché sto registrando, cioè sono già a buon punto, ho registrato metà delle cose e adesso sto lavorando su 33 pezzi, però ne farò uscire.
Soon, because I'm recording, I'm halfway through. Now I'm recording on 33 tracks, but I'll release an album, not of 33 tracks, or I'd be crazy. 13, 14 tracks. I'm halfway. It's difficult though, because I'm doing everything by myself. So I'm sound engineer, musician, a bit of everything in the end. Luckily, I have James Rio, who helps me, but I play bass and drums. For instance, in that song you've listened to, I play bass, drums, and keyboard, and it all sounds ready, because my sound is very bass and drums. I think I'm pretty unique, musically speaking, because I use bass a lot when I do things, and normally it's not used this way. When I work with other artists, I don't play this way, I play the bass normally. Then, when they know me live, they say, "Oh, then you play, you know?"
I'm pretty sure that the fans will be happy to hear that. Everybody's like, when is he releasing new music? Ask him when he's releasing new music. Like,
No, ma
okay.
molti fan mi chiedono quando viene.
Many fans ask me, when will you come to Milan? When will you come to Turin? I must find some bookings for concerts.
They also want to know whether you're going to be doing any concerts of your own music soon.
19 aprile penso che suono a Roma. Wishlist. Conosci? Wishlist. Poi a San Lorenzo. Cioè, vabbè, poi chiamo, lo dico.
I'm coming.
Sì.
Oh yeah,
I go also for you.
I'm just going to look
But
how much
I
flights are.
hope this summer to play some festival, insomma. I must devo organizzare, solo che in questo momento sono concentrato sul disco, quindi non...
I should organise things, but now I'm focused on a new record, so I'm basically not thinking about it. I recorded with Fabrizio up until now, so I always need to get some time.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure that your fans are going to be happy to just hear that you're working on new music. Now there is something that I have to ask, and I have to bring up in this interview, because I feel like a lot of fans that are going to be listening, who might not know your music, are going to be listening for this reason. So, you play bass, Fabrizio Moro.
Quanto stanno tutti questi fan? È incredibile. Cioè, infatti, io ne...
Where are all these fans? It's incredible. Where are they? On Instagram?
Well, I posted some questions in the Andrea Ra of fan group on Facebook.
Un gruppo Facebook,
yeah.
Vedi, io non lo seguo mai, infatti devo seguire.
Oh, on Facebook? I never follow it. I should. I'm a fugitive. I must be more into social media, yes.
He doesn't follow a lot the social. Comunque ha chiesto là ai fan delle domande.
Ah,
che
lui ha
gli
chiesto, lì apposta hanno risposto. Infatti...
So she asked them questions on Facebook. Oh, I see. That's why they answered. I thought she asked questions. Who did answer? In Birmingham?
And also, a lot of Fabrizio's fans are also interested in the interview.
certo.
So, you play bass, Fabrizio. How long have you been playing bass for him?
5 years.
5 years.
Okay, 5 years.
So a lot of the fans want to know what it's like working with him.
It's funny. No, è bello, è molto... mi piace perché è un lavoro molto molto differente dal mio. E quindi è un lavoro che presuppone, a parte delle conoscenze tecniche particolari, cioè specifiche.
It's nice because it's a very different work than mine. It's a work that requires specific technological know-how, so I'll make myself available. I don't play Andrea Ra, the one people know from my music. I play Fabrizio's bassist there, you know? So I do what he asks me to, but he gives me much space. I do chorus and second voices. He also makes me sing l'inizio, the lyrical part.
Com'era? Aspetta, spegnici un attimo, L'onore a vivere e l'ebbrezza di un giorno presente confonde il benessere e l'orrore a ridere e a dare fiducia a me stesso e agli altri a rinascere. Vabbè, così. Vabbè, però è bruttissimo, se la fa sentire, vedremo. Ed orrore a vivere. Vabbè, insomma. Questa versione è un po' più strana. Come prendono per pazzo poi? They say me that I'm crazy? No,
No.
I hope no. Okay.
No, I actually only realized that was you singing that part when I was watching.
If you look to the concert of
Stadio.
Olimpico
That's what I was
Stadium,
gonna say. That's
you
when
can,
I.
there is the sound.
No, it is, and that's like I never realized that was you until I was watching the live stream of the concert. I was like, oh, that's Andrea. So he's obviously working on Fabrizio's new album now. How's that coming along?
Io e Alessandro, il batterista, abbiamo registrato già basso e batteria. Abbiamo fatto molto rapidamente, in un giorno, 2, fatto tutti i bassi. Però adesso ci sta una fase un pochino più lenta perché insomma le chitarre presuppongono un po' più di tempo. Insomma.
Well, me and Alessandro already recorded bass and drums. We did it very quickly, in a day or two. But now, there's a slower phase going on because guitars need more time. So, I don't know. I think it will come out around April, but I don't want to give wrong news. I hope. Surely it will come out in time for summer, for sure. I hope Sony won't shoot me, but yes, in April. Surely the single.
So are you excited for the tour in October?
Beh sì, contento, eccitato, nel senso eccitato. Sì, no, sono contento perché poi la parte live è quella più bella, perché poi quando passi il tempo in studio rischi sempre.
Oh yes, I'm happy for it. The live part is always the best one because when you're closed in the studio, you risk to not sit. You do things and you spend a lot of time alone. Well, at least I do. But basically, even with Fabrizio in 4 and 5 people, you haven't got feedback. You have it with lives. There's little to do about it. So it's the best part of your job. Yes, I always like to play live.
Ok.
Ci vediamo a Milano.
Ci vediamo a Milano.
So let's go back to the Italian music industry.
Ok.
There has recently been a few issues with some Italian singers, their music not being available outside of Italy, and it being geo-blocked. So as an artist, what are your thoughts on when record labels block the music from being played outside of Italy?
Ma più che io penso che più che
questa
bloccarle
come artista?
non vengono forse promozionate, perché non posso credere vengono bloccate, non vengono forse spinte, cioè come dire. Però fondamentalmente ci sono dei casi assurdi, perché per dire in Italia ci stanno artisti tipo, che ne so, Vasco Rossi che riempie gli stadi, no? E ci vengono a suonare artisti internazionali americani, Steph Mars, che io pure conosco, insomma, cioè ha suonato Alice Cooper, cioè è un onore, però poi dopo fuori non riescono. Adesso io non so bene perché, ti dico, non è che riesco a capire bene le dinamiche. Io quello che vedo è che purtroppo fuori dall'Italia viene conosciuto solo un certo tipo di musica.
I guess that more than blocking them, they didn't promote them. I can't believe they blocked them. They're not pushed. Basically, there are some absurd cases in Italy, like who fills up the stadiums. International artists come to play here. Who I know, Alice Cooper, which is an honour, but abroad they can't. I actually don't know why. I can't understand the dynamics well. What I see is that unfortunately, outside of Italy, they know only one kind of music and it's very restrictive. For instance, they know Bocelli, Eros Ramazzotti, Laura Pausini, but there are also many other things that are not conveyed. But this happens in Italy as well, so maybe this is what happens exponentially. Otherwise, if you think of Japan for instance, all the Italian progressive music of the 70s is very famous there. All the bands like things that sell very little here. They're being rich, they bought all the masters, and all the Italian music of that period is very famous. A lot of Italian metal is appreciated abroad and not in Italy. And it's unbelievable, it's absurd. A lot of jazz is appreciated abroad. But several environments, for instance rock and pop music is appreciated in Latin America and Hispanic markets. There I see that some artists have channels, but for instance, they can't break into English-speaking markets. And maybe it's because of the language, I think. If you think that David Bowie said that the artist he referred to was Battisti, but Battisti has never succeeded in being famous in England, even if he was an incredible artist. There have been many artists that would have deserved it. I know a lot of groups, but unfortunately, it's not easy. But honestly, I don't know the actual reason because there will be dynamics behind that. I don't know. Maybe it's a language problem, but it's a relative one because that's not what it really is.
Like what you said with the language being an issue, but recently you've got K-pop bands like... Okay, I can't think of any K-pop bands' names, but it's really popular. Like Korean music is really popular right outside around the world.
Korean?
Yeah,
Korean from Korea.
Yeah, and they've been
famous in England.
It's around the world. They've sold out Madison Square
in
Garden.
fact, I think that music is the most important ever.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but there are multi steps that ti rendono difficile la cosa perché ti dicono no, è inutile che se lo fai e ti stoppano prima di farlo. Cioè io penso che per esempio Vasco Rossi non hanno mai provato anche a venderlo poi.
I think music is the most important thing ever, but there are often many obstacles. They tell you it's useless to do it, and they stop you before doing it. I don't know, but I think they never even tried to sell Vasco Rossi outside. But maybe it's difficult for the language because of the lyrics that are important and cannot be translated. I don't know. Every case is a specific one. You can't generalise. For instance, many instrumental bands become famous, like Goblin. My guitarist plays with Goblin and does gigs in America, Japan, but they're instrumental. The ones of Profondo Rosso. Do you know Dario Argento?
Per esempio a me piacerebbe suonare in Inghilterra, perché sono sicuro che poi vedendomi al vivo mi piacerebbe, però è impossibile scavallare e arrivarci prima. Ci sono molti preconcetti, credo, in un certo senso c'è anche un po' di qualche pregiudizio, perché comunque...
I'd love to play in England because once they've seen me live, they'll like it. But it's impossible to leap over and get there in the first place. Here there is a lot of prejudice, I think, maybe due to a culture that has always been conveyed, always the same proposals. They're difficult and slow processes, but you can never tell. Maybe in the future it will change. It's also about the music market. For instance, in the American market, there's no interest in making an artist coming from Italy to enter it. For instance, otherwise, I know an artist who's a friend of mine, De Niro, who many years ago was published by Universal in England. No one listened to him in Italy. Then he came out from England Universal, and he became famous in all of Europe. He's like Jeff Buckley, but that was a single case. Does he write in Italian? In English. And he didn't have any opportunities with Italian. It's the contrary. It's absurd.
I think that's a big issue as to why our foreign language music artists aren't known in England. Because if you listen to the radio in England, just in English. But
just in English.
Just in English.
Okay. But
in Poland, we've got Alvaro Soler. He's big in Poland. Yeah, and like you hear like some Italian music. You hear sometimes Spanish music, German. So.
Ma per esempio, che ne so, ci sono gruppi, che ne so, i Rammstein. Conosci i Rammstein?
Yes.
In tedesco sono famosissimi.
For instance, there are some groups like Rammstein. Do you know Rammstein? They sing in German and are very famous in Italy. I don't understand a word of German, but I like them. I listen to them. So if you like the music, language isn't a big stop. If you write good lyrics, but the music is not good, music is important. Then if you're curious about it, you can go deeper, like I do with an English lyric. I listen to Pink Floyd without knowing the words. I like the music. Then since I like music, I go and deepen the lyrics.
What is your favourite Fabrizio Moro songs to perform?
Ma diverse, insomma.
I like L'Inizio. There are so many beautiful ones. It's hard to choose.
Cancellala. Because questa non fa così, non la suona così.
I don't play this in this way to Fabrizio. This is my version.
Sono mio padre e i suoi errori, un bersaglio sfiorato, le paure che sento qui dentro di me. Così, poi c'è. Io la farei così invece. Oddio, no, oddio, no, oddio, aspetta, staccavo tutto. No, mi sa che non la posso fare. Insomma.
memory that's related to music?
Beh, ce ne sono diversi, però secondo me tutti i concerti adesso che ho fatto con James Rio, forse quello all'auditorium.
There are several, but I think the concerts I did with James Rio, especially the one at the auditorium, he played drums. It was very emotional. Also, there was a good feedback from the audience and the press. Sometimes it's useful.
Tanti concerti, cioè, poi vabbè è difficile perché ogni concerto...
But also many others, doing concerts, visiting new places. For instance, last year we played in Taormina with Fabrizio. It was beautiful. Just being there is awesome. Then playing.
Cammino e mi sembra di averti vicino. Ogni volta che mi guardo intorno, ogni volta che non me ne accorgo, ogni volta che viene il giorno, ogni volta che mi sveglio, ogni volta che mi sbaglio, ogni volta che sono sicuro e ogni volta che mi sembra solo. Ogni volta che mi viene in mente qualche cosa che non c'entra niente, ogni volta. Ogni volta che non sono coerente, ogni volta che non è importante, ogni volta che qualcuno si preoccupa per me, ogni volta che non c'è, proprio quando la stavo cercando, ogni volta quando insomma, sarà una merda, cioè sarà una male.
It surely has come out as shit. I mean, badly. Listen to it. Well, we'll listen later.
Actually, it's I watched, listened to the cover that of Ogni Volta, and then I was like, oh, I like this song, and then I went on Spotify, Andrea Ra Ogni Volta, nothing coming
E
out,
ogni volta...
and then I realized it's by it's not your song, and I was like, oh, Vasco
No,
Rossi.
it's a cover.
Actually, thanks to that video, that I then went to listen to Vasco Rossi's music, and now I'm a fan of his music as well.
Vasco Rossi is great. È assurda, questa cosa è incredibile. Questa cosa
I mean,
diglielo a Vasco Rossi, contento.
I mean, I didn't know who it was.
Beh, vedi, questo è incredibile, uno come Vasco non ha conosciuto, perché evidentemente... Beh, certo, poi lui è carosello, non è... Cioè, vedi...
This is an incredible thing. Absurd. Tell Vasco Rossi this. He'll be glad. This is incredible. That Vasco is not known. He's Carosello, though. See? It's always the record company. It's not that Fabrizio is better now. It's because now he's with Sony, and before he wasn't. That's the point, basically. Then things change, and it depends on who pushes you. Wait, I'll call James Rio. Are there any more questions?
Do you think that it's possible for an Italian artist who sings in Italian, and not classical music like Bocelli or Il Volo, to actually break through and make a career outside of Italy?
Magari, piacerebbe pensarlo così, piacerebbe molto, spero di sì, penso che debbano aprirsi dei canali, insomma, però bisogna provarci, la vedo dura, però insomma,
Abbiamo parlato molto anche.
ma perché è difficile anche in Italia fondamentalmente fare certe cose.
I'd love to think it's possible. A lot. I hope so. I think some channels should open, but we have to try. It seems hard though. In Italy, it's also difficult to do certain things, but maybe outside it's different. Maybe it's simpler. Like with jobs, many go abroad. I think everything is possible, but very tough. The most important thing is that they can listen to you. Otherwise, it's like to describe a picture. You have to see it to understand if you like it. If I don't see it, I can't appreciate the colours, or not even think whether I could like it. Maybe I won't, but I need to see it. It's the same with music.
So, going back to your album, Nessun Riferimento,
Sì?
which is one of my favourite albums of all time. Out of all the artists, all the albums, it's one of my favourites.
I think that it's no, non perché è il mio, però è un bell'album, no? Devo dire. Sì, purtroppo non è stato promozionato, cioè non è stato spinto quell'album.
Not because it's mine, but I think it's a good album. But it hasn't been promoted enough. While the first was Mescal, Sony, that one is the most unknown. And I'm sorry because there are a lot of cool songs in it. But wow, it's mine, so...
Well, hopefully this podcast will help in some way.
Yeah, brava. Sì.
I mean, this is why I'm doing this. Is why I'm doing this, because, you know, I love your music. I think it's great, and I'm like, hey guys, listen to the music. So
Tu fai ascoltare piano piano, dai.
You make people listen, then slowly, maybe someone... Do you know La Zanzara? Cruciani? No? Never heard of. The other year he passed one of my songs.
I don't speak Italian. I mean, in the song, you've got like those little short clips between songs of like you talking, yeah. And obviously, I don't speak Italian, so for me, it's like I don't understand. But so I thought I'd ask you,
Sì?
the person who wrote them, does the entire album and those clips, do they tell a story? What's it about?
Perché questo è quello è un concept album che parla di un incubo di una notte, Nightmare.
Oh, well, this is a concept album that tells of a nightmare that lasts all night long. The first song is called Midnight, and the last, 6 o'clock. These are the hours of the nightmare, so there are 13 hours in which he dreams, and he dreams the songs, so songs are the service of the nightmare. It's all a metaphor, basically. Did you see the cover? It's Nessun Riferimento. There's a C, so there's no reference point. It's a sort of metaphor for our society. It's a sort of metaphor of our society. We lost ourselves. But this is dated in 2011. Maybe I wrote it too early. Nowadays, I see the effects. Loss, loneliness, boredom. Also the theme of the sea, nowadays, or the greatest tragedies, also literary, have been written in the middle of the sea. Think of Homer. So taking it as a setting, a demanding one, was for representing the loss, a mental one in fact. Because it's a dream, it develops on different levels. It was a folly. Sometimes it's better not to do these things. In any case, nobody understands it. So I mean, I'll explain it. There are also calmer episodes there, also musically.
Different level of music. Crazy, normal, cioè pop, rock, perché represents the moments of the nightmare, okay? For example, Mr. Vanni.
Salve a tutti, sono Mr. Vanni, il moltiplicatore. Di notte vado in giro per Firenze con la mia sega a motore. Avevo 2 ragazze, adesso ce n'ho 4.
Mr. Vanni is a psychosocial, psycho killer, no? And so the songs is in very different stili, no? Ci stanno un sacco di stili proprio per rappresentare la mente disturbata, no? Poi c'è un richiamo al passato.
And the song says it in different styles to represent the disturbed mind. There are also references to the past because sometimes space and time compress, permeate themselves. So there's the story of Borromini, the story of Bernini. that becomes very famous and Borromini that kills himself because he's afraid that Bernini will copy even his last works. So such a tormented life of an artist and the injustices that are the same, even if times are changed. So then, where does he kill himself? In Vicolo dell'Agnello. So there's the song Agnello. But if you see, only Agnello, you don't understand. You have to listen to the whole thing. It's all linked. In Mezzi, there are the several phases of the nightmare. It's all very dreamlike.
So, you said it's like a mix of the album's a mix of different things, and I feel like that's why.
Però io sono fiducioso che questo album verrà riscoperto sicuramente.
Io oggi l'ho scoperto.
No, ma questo album non è molto conosciuto ed è un peccato. It's a pity. Okay? It's not so...
But I'm confident that this album will be surely rediscovered. It's not well known, and that's a pity, but it will be. Sometimes you must have to wait. Not everything you see immediately. You have to distinguish between what. I'm not saying because it's imposed works better, because it works, and things that, but then things change. Listen, that has fallen. Come inside. Close the door. No, it's not broken. It just fell. Come, let's play a song.
So I feel like why Mr. Vanni is my favorite song, because you have...
Mr. Vanni?
Yeah.
Pensa, Mr. Vanni è una canzone molto dura che le radio italiane non hanno voluto passare perché era troppo dura. Cioè, Mr. Vanni ha fatto anche un video. L'hai visto il video?
Mr. Vanni. I think that Mr. Vanni is a very tough song that Italian radios don't want to broadcast because it's too tough. I made a video of it. Did you see it? It's a good video because it represents the dreamlike theme, but only the weirdest radio broadcasted it because it was too tough, and it's a pity.
Ma qua devi fare ripresa, devi fare scusi. Rifalla, dai, prego.
No, l'ho tolta.
Ah, beh.
Ora inizia.
Ah? Vabbè, no, fai pure questa,
Aspetta.
così. Perché lei la conosce.
Aspettate.
Ah, ok.
I'll hold it. Oh, okay.
I go there.
Continuiamo interview strange interview.
Nearly done anyway.
No, cascata la cera. No, è cera. La cera che è cascata.
The last question now, yeah.
The last.
Ah. So if you had to pick just one,
If one?
if you had to just choose
Choose.
one thing, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment as an artist? Just one.
Beh, difficile.
I know.
Abbiamo capito che non
That's
sa
why I asked.
scegliere Andrea Ra.
Beh,
Perché
insomma,
Andrea Ra doesn't know how to choose things.
beh, difficile scegliere una cosa.
Well, it's difficult.
Ma
It's hard to choose one thing because, in fact, the most rewarding thing isn't what they tell you, but it's the approval. I mean, when you come to the live, you see someone laughing, or that stares into your eyes and is happy for what you do. This is the most beautiful thing that rewards me, not what they tell me. What they tell me, you know? What counts more are gestures, emotions. It's the non-verbal language that moves me most.
Thank you very much. Thank you for going to the interview.
Grazie a te.
Thank you for being for the podcast. Anybody who wants to listen to Andrea's music, just put on Andrea Ra on Spotify, on YouTube, and all the music will come up. All right, thank you.
Thank you.